In this video I will once and for all settle a question of incendiary proportions, at least for a certain value of once and for all. As in, once and for all for a very narrow set of boundary conditions and an assortment of random factors. Where were we? Ah yes, I like tealights. I also like wood. I don't very much like fire. I do like wooden tealight holders, like in my recent beam lantern video. So I'll do an experiment regarding the danger of these. The beam I used had several resin pockets that would run out over time, making me think that it was working with at least moderately resinous wood. I do not know the species. The beams are kinda reclaimed, but if I had to guess I would say spruce. To begin, let us check the resin. Here I have some sawdust from that beam. As you can see, it does not burn very well like this. Here I have a chunk of resin coated in sawdust. This coat kinda just fell into place when the resin took an involuntary trip downwards onto my shop floor. It does work well to make it less sticky and easier to handle though. Here we go. As you can see, it burns rather well, for quite a while and with lots of smoke, and even floating pieces of burn residue, aka ash. So it seems like a wise move not to place resin pockets close to a tealight. Another question, for resin as well as wood in general, would be the distance. I should state for the record that I find wooden tealight holders to be pretty safe, otherwise I would not build them. Call it a gut feeling, call it experience, but I think a distance of maybe an inch from the center of the flame to the wood should be enough to avoid fire, even though it is certainly too close for comfort. But let us test that too. Here I have placed a board right above a tealight at an even closer distance. This, of course, is an arbitrary choice. Much lower would probably suffocate the flame, resulting in less heat, while putting the board higher would not prove as much. So if this burns, I might need to repeat the experiment to find a minimal safe distance. If not, then we are done here. No flaming inferno, but some scorching was going on here. I think there are two things to take away from this. Either a tealight is a rather flimsy heat source, or a complete wood surface is not that susceptible to fire. Let's do another experiment. I'm using a slightly more capable heat source this time, on the same piece. And even though this is badly scorched and even a little bent, it didn't catch on fire. What does that tell you? Well, nothing of course, but as far as the theory about the surface area goes, as a pseudoscientific, non-specific proof I present a small cutoff. Keep in mind that other factors might influence the flammability and thus fire danger of a tealight holder. The stains, paints or lacquers used, as well as other conditions like wind, temperature, positioning of the holder and so on. On a side note, did you know that in former times pieces of very resinous wood were used instead of candles because these were expensive? To the best knowledge of my research department, they were called pine chips. And they do smell nice. And paint the ceiling black. I'm not saying that wooden tealight holders are perfectly safe, nor am I saying that tealights themselves are. They are, in my opinion, a type of candle that is pretty safe and lends itself well to safe use when under proper supervision. That said, always think before you do something or set something on fire, And never leave a burning candle alone. It might develop a life of its own. Here you can see how the resin is still boiling even after it's been extinguished. Thanks for watching. Share this if you found it helpful. Subscribe to my channel and my newsletter on my homepage. And remember to be on fire. Inspired.